This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by trainer, manager, promoter extraordinaire Joe Gallagher over Zoom. Joe, we're only a matter of a couple of days away before you have to fly out to Texas ahead of probably one of, if not the biggest fight that you'd have been involved with Callum Smith getting ready to take on pound for pound star Canelo next Saturday rather. But before we come on to all of that good stuff, Joe, how is life? How's things going?
Yeah, going the best it can do. It's I don't think people realise. I know it was okay agreeing the fight on 4 weeks, 4.5 weeks notice, but the logistics, getting sparring partners, and the huge pressure all of a sudden that's on everyone in camp to stay COVID free, wear masks, keep social distancing. We all had our tests done today. We wait their results tomorrow morning. And then we fly Thursday, and then we have to self-isolate the best we can in a hotel in Texas, which has got a really high rate at the moment, before we go in the bubble on Monday. And then we have another test on Monday. And then it's just like everyone cross their fingers, and then hopefully we go on with it. But it's just them little things that add in so much pressure to a camp anyway, do you know what I mean? So apart from that, yeah, training's going well. Callum did 12 good rounds today, and we're really looking forward to going over there and taking on Canelo.
How have you found this training camp, Joe? You know, it's been spoken about kind of. We always seem to see Callum pick it up when he's in the big fights. We saw him step up with Rocky Fielding. He produced a great performance. Did it with George Groves, and no doubt he'll look to produce something similar with Canelo, obviously onto a higher level because of a level of opposition. Have you seen a change in kind of Callum's mentality throughout this camp?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, like Ricky said, and like all top fighters, once you got the fear factor, and the fear of losing, you run that bit quicker, punch that bit harder. But Callum has always been a very coachable athlete. He's always been one for attention to deal. He's always 100%. But I just feel there's a more relaxed Callum. Callum is very laid back, but he's an unnerving laid back, and he has that steely laid back, that make people feel uncomfortable. Do you understand? He's that laid back, but he's so tunnel visioned. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have to be talking about it, but he's on it. Everything, attention to detail. So no, he's in a good place, and we just can't wait to get out there. Obviously, Liam's been involved, helping, giving him tips, his brothers, and as I said to him, we managed to get the right sparring in a small pool that we could choose from to replicate a few things, different things that Sal does. And but also we've also got to remember what we're good at as well. And we need to see that Callum Smith, that everyone likes coming through, front foot, punching hard either hand, and let Sal Alvarez worry about Callum Smith. You have to humanize Canelo Sal Alvarez, because a lot of times you look at him and you can be at awe of him and the monster and the hype and everything else, but he's only a man, 2 arms, 2 legs. And if you want to start going down the path, you think, well, Anthony Yarde nearly beat Kovalev better than what Canelo did, who was behind at the time of stoppage. And look at Yarde just losing to Arthur. And you started going through things like that. And Canelo had 2 tough fights with a 37, 38-year-old middleweight, Triple G, a world-class fighter though he is. Do you know what I mean? So when Callum wins, I'm sure everyone will go, the signs were there. He struggled with him. He'd got a draw with him. He came from behind to beat him. Do you know what I mean? And you've got to humanise it and make it a bit real and go into it and go, Callum, let him start worrying about you, getting out of the way, your reach, your hard shots, and just don't be tuck and let him dictate things. So, yeah, we're in a good place. Callum is.
Talk to me about the preparations, Joe. It's no secret Callum has a lot of advantages over Canelo. Naturally, the bigger guy, he'll have a longer reach, taller, what have you. what are you expecting from Canelo and what he'll be looking to try and navigate around Callum's advantages?
Well, when you look at Canelo and the tall opponents that he's fought in the past, it's bread and butter for him, isn't it? It's bread and butter. You look at how he bullied Chavez round the ring, how he stopped Rocky Fielding, beat Kovalev late on. It's bread and butter stuff for him. That the taller the kids, the bigger the target. Yeah, I do feel the fear factor has got it for Canelo as well. I think we've got to see the best Canelo we've seen for a long while. I think there's got to be a lot of movement from him, a lot of head movement, a lot of offsetting, making Callum walk onto stuff. Yeah, I really do. I think he's going to try and make Callum come onto him, counter him, lots of things like that. But I think he's excited, Canelo, as well. He's not fought for a year, and it's a challenge. He loves a challenge, and this is a huge challenge for him, as it is for Callum Smith. So I think we've got to see a very good Callum Smith and a very good Saul Alvarez in this fight. Both are fighters, and Sal wants what Callum's got, and Callum wants what Sal has, which is that pound for pound #1 title and that respect.
He would have to obviously live up to the expectations and be a good fight, Joe. But in your eyes, is this the best fight of the year?
I think of the year, well, it all depends what happens in the fight. I do feel Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder rematch for me up to now this year is the fight of the year, the occasion of the year, everything. Nothing's beat it. And then since lockdown, we had Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez. Also, we had Bud Crawford, we've had Usyk, we've had Spence at the weekend. But they weren't in against the finger. Yeah, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, the rematch of the #1 heavyweight in the world. Now we're having the #1 pound for pound in the world versus the #1 168 in the world. And that is the big fight, the second big fight of the year. And I'd say the biggest fight, possibly the second biggest fight, or on par with Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. So, yeah, regardless of what's going on at the moment, for me, in my opinion, yeah, definitely only just on merit and the titles and the positions that both fighters hold.
Moving forwards, Joe, just with Callum himself, kind of one final thing rather. He wins, he reaches new levels of stardom that he won't have been used to up until this point in his career. How have you found kind of his attitude with dealing with that? I'm sure you, him, the team have thought about what could be next for him if he was successful, but ultimately you've kept your eyes on the prize to make sure it is just get through next weekend first. But how have you found kind of making sure Callum does stay focused on the task at hand first and foremost?
Callum, I've never had no problem. You see Callum, he's not the most busiest of people on social media. He's not one for really the big interviews and everything else. He just likes his life. And I think having 3 older brothers, as in Paul, Stephen and Liam, he's never a chance to get a word in edgeways anyway. So I don't think they'd allow it, and they'd soon smack him down if he started getting above his stations. But Callum's not that type of kid. You don't have to worry about that. Obviously, you see him when he beat George Groves. He just went back to, do you know what I mean, enjoying family life, becoming a dad and everything else. Don't get rolled up in it. And it reminds me a little bit of Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis was a world champion. He wasn't being given what he should have been given whilst he had his career. It was only very late on in his career, and in retirement, people appreciated him more. And Callum's a bit like that, just laid back. But then on the big fights, for telltales, he delivered just like Lennox Lewis did. You know what I mean? On the big fights, okay, Lewis delivered, whether it be Gallagher, Mike Tyson, Holyfield. He delivered in the big fights, Razor Ruddock, and very much same like Callum Smith. So yeah, Callum is just laid back and pull this off, and he becomes questionably up there in the pound for pound list, either 1, 2, or 3. It won't faze him. He's just right. That's it. He'll go back to his life and enjoying his family, and just being back to being normal Callum.
One final thing on the fight before we do move on to just a couple of other things, Joe, and leave you to enjoy the rest of your night. I saw Eddie come out, it was probably a couple of weeks after the fight announcement, and he said that there was no rehydration clause. With that in mind, Joe, is that true?
Yeah, there's no rehydration clause.
So
If Eddie said that, Eddie said that, yeah, there's no rehydration clause.
how much of an advantage will that be? Because everybody knows just how big Callum is at 168.
To be honest, I do think both fighters will get in the ring at a similar weight. Callum has always monitored his weight when he weighs in, when he goes to bed at night after his weighed in, when he's woke in the morning. And we've always monitored that with all the fighters, that if we were ever involved in world title fights like the IBF with that £10, we'd be there or thereabouts. And yeah, I do think with Canelo and Callum, they'll both be similar weights in the ring. Callum doesn't put that much on what people think, and he doesn't have to lose that much. He just walks around at like 13-1, 13-2. It's not a big thing. He did his check weight the other day, and like Kurt, who does it, it's like, bloody hell, he just doesn't have problems. I'm like, no, he just doesn't. He's just a freak of nature. So him and Canelo, I expect to get in the ring at the same weight. Although saying that, maybe Canelo might stay a little bit lighter if he's got to be nimble on his feet and he's got to be doing a lot of head movement and spinning. He might want to keep his weight light.
Joe, just with AJ's return, do you think there's a pressure on him to get back to kind of what we've been used to seeing in the past? But obviously, last time out, we saw him box brilliantly against Andi Ruiz Jr. But do you think we'll see him get back to kind of that heavy-hitting, vicious fighter that we've been used to, who's been knocking out the majority of his opponents in his career? Or do you think he will be cautious, knowing 2021, the Fury fight's there for him if he gets past Pulev?
I think I wouldn't say it'd be reckless. I think emotionally wise, mentally wise, he'll want to go in there, make a statement, and send a message that he's here and he's ready 2021. That's what he'd like to do. What he will do is, after the Ruiz first fight, is safety first. As Robert will say, jab, keep your long reach, keep him on the end of that jab, look for the right hand, and keep it like that for 4 or 5 rounds. Try and mark him up, catch him, make Pulev reach, counter him with right uppercuts and left hooks. Anthony Joshua throws a good right uppercut, left hook. You've seen that with Dylan White. It's the shots that knocked Andi Ruiz out. And basically that'll be it. And mostly catch Pulev between 6 and 8 rounds, something like that. Like I said, it all depends what it was. Pulev 39-40. Depends what Pulev's got left, 39-40. Is he coming for the payday, or is he coming like Povetkin? He's got that one punch power like with Dylan White, and he can turn it all around. If Pulev comes and takes belief from Andi Ruiz what he could do and really fancies it, I know Kalle Sauerland always in the past has spoke highly of him. It'll be interesting to see, but I don't think they'll want to go out and want to get involved in a scrap too early. It'll be safety first. I'm surprised if it did.
A couple more quick ones to touch on, Joe. Fight-wise, go back to this past weekend. You briefly mentioned it earlier. Lyndon Arthur defeating Anthony Yarde. A brilliant performance from Lyndon Arthur. But what did you make of the fight, Joe?
Yeah, it was. I think it was a very, very disciplined performance by Lyndon Arthur, made up for him and Pat Barrett. Like I say, Lyndon used the jab and didn't really stray much from it. It was up to Anthony Yarde to get past that jab, have a slip on the inside, slip on the outside, cut the ring off, throw more than one punch. I mean, you've seen in the last round when he did decide to throw more than 1 or 2 punches, 3 or 4, he had some success. But I agreed where I seen red. Because of the Kovalev, he didn't want to start too early in case he gassed, but then he left it too late and the fight was lost, to put it. But fair play to Lyndon Arthur, good jab. And like you say, there's the big blockbuster, London blockbuster that everyone wanted to see with Anthony Yarde and Josh Buatsi going out the window. And I think they were on about talking at the time, wanting $1 million each for that. That ripped up the script. And let's say full credit to Pat Barrett and Lyndon Arthur.
And then the night before, we saw Billy Joe Saunders overcome Martin Murray with a comprehensive points victory. I'm sure you'd have had one eye on it, Joe, potential future opponent for Callum. What was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, obviously, listen, huge credit to Martin Murray, big fan of Martin. Known both lads a long time, but Martin, such a nice kid. Unfortunate that he never won a world title. And like I say, 5 attempts at it. Performance with Billy Joe. It was made in commentary. Both kids are middleweights. They were fighting at super middleweight. And I think there, Billy Joe, he performed and he got the win. I think he would have liked to. I've got a stoppage. That's very hard against someone like Martin Murray. Do you know what I mean? Who's been in with like your Triple Gs and that. But like I say, Billy Joe, he got the win. Did he look brilliant? No. Did he get some good shots off? Yeah. Martin Murray was more resilient than what some people did think. And that was it. But yeah, there's fights there for Billy Joe now. I agreed with George Groves on commentary. As a boxing fan, I'd love to see you bank Billy Joe too. I just do. I just think we see the two of them at it back and forth all the time. And I seen Billy saying like, "Oh, no one wants to fight me," but I'm sure Eubank would love to fight him. And I've seen Andrade. So there's fights there for Billy, and I know he's got an eye on the winner of Callum and Canelo as well. But yeah, like I say, Billy Joe got the win. He did what he had to do. I don't think he was happy with his performance. But like you say, he'd been out a while, and I'm sure if he stays in the gym now, Billy Joe, it'll be better again now. Next time out.
I know I said that was the final one, Joe, but there's one more. Last week we saw Richard Bolotniks pick up the Golden Contract Light Heavyweight Tournament win in the final. What are your thoughts on it, Joe? Again, was you surprised when you go back to kind of when the draws were first made and you saw he was in there that he has ended up going on to be the victor?
No, I'm not. I always thought Bob Letniks was a danger man. I couldn't understand the format of why the semi-finals were split and we had to go to Latvia, and yet the other semi-finals stayed in the UK. Surely all 4 of them should have gone to Latvia and the draw done there, and it happened. It is what it is, and fair play to Blotniks. He boxed well, came out, took his time, and like you say, got to work and finished strong in the fight and hurt Serge. And yeah, no, he got the fight. I know Ophi would love a rematch with him. I know Callum Johnson would love to fight him. So yeah, but like I say, Ophi was the only man in the competition to go the distance with him on his own soil, and I know Ophi got a standing count when it shouldn't have been, and he had a torrid, was it round 9 or 11, and he came back and won the next round. So fair play to Blotniks. You can't help but like him. He's a likeable character. He's off enjoying his pizza and his beer now, and fair play to him. And he for the Burton fight, he brought in people that used to work with Klitschko for his conditioning and stuff like that. And then you see him for the final, he brought Bradis's coaching for it. So they were hugely serious about it, and he was a fighter. When you study his record, most of his losses were at cruiserweight. When he's been down at light heavyweight, he's been a serious threat and acquitted himself well. And I said that all along. His only losses really were up at cruiserweight against bigger men. And yeah, full credit to him. He took his opportunity, and yeah, fair play to him. I'm sure there'll be people over here now. I seen Ed Robinson made on about Boaxi fighting him, and I seen Bolotniks on about saying he wants to fight Anthony Yarde. So there'll be promoters over in the UK that I'd like to bring him back and put him in against some of the light heavyweights here.
Right, Joe, we will leave that there now. I'll leave you to get ready to travel on Wednesday. I know you've only got a day or so left. Yeah. Safe travels, best of luck with that, and I will speak to you soon. Thank you for your time as always, and thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
No problem, Andy. Nice to see you, mate.